Good morning, friends. Good morning. Good to see you this morning. Chilly morning this morning, but it's a good day. Boy, is that sun glorious today. Definitely needed the sunglasses and even the sun visor down in the car. Driving around today, the kids needed the visors down to help them in the back seat. Um, Back seats, plural, I suppose I should say. But good morning. I'm Brian. I'm the pastor here at Christ United Methodist Church in Waynesboro. Uh, they call me PB. People call me PB, and so that's why we are PB reads the Bible, and we are on episode seven, episode 7 on our journey through Matthew. Today is Wednesday, the 24th. And so today is going to be it for the week because tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Friday is my Sabbath, so it's a day we don't usually do the Bible readings anyway. Um, excuse me, but and so then we'll be back at it on Monday with episode 8. But today is episode 7. So just a few things to mention and talk about. Well, you know this first thing I'm going to say, don't you? Time to check in. Time to check in. Romper Room roll call. Go ahead and let me know that you're watching either live or some other time. It doesn't matter to me. Good morning, Cheryl. Cheryl's checking in. First one to check in. Good morning, Cheryl. Pray that you're well, and hopefully I assume you're home. You didn't let me know, but I'll give you a buzz or something later too to make sure, or I'll try to. I have several notes here listing. These are like all the things I need to do today. So it's a busy day, and it's also only a half day for the kids. So I have to be ready to go drive the kids home this afternoon about 1 o'clock. 12:50, I think is time. Good morning, Marilyn, checking in. Of course, you can also use the comments section to let me know things you want me to be in prayer about, and let each other know things that we want to be in prayer about. This is a community. We are a community of faith, and it's important to be in prayer for each other. You can also use the comment section to do what? Leave comments about the videos, about what I say, or questions, especially questions. And even if you're not live well, first of all, keep in mind that sometimes Facebook doesn't let me see your comments right away, but I do go back in later to double check to see who else might have been here and to see if there were questions or comments that I need to address. You can also send me that kind of stuff through texting 570-351-1619. Again, acknowledging that sometimes I don't see it right away. I try to, but since I have my phone silenced, I might miss it at first. But I will get back to you either directly or maybe the next time we do a video, I will address it there and address it that way instead. So good morning, Marcia. Good morning, Annie. Oh, Annie Kiss. No, I haven't seen that name before. So good morning, Annie, and welcome. Uh, good to have you joining us as well. This is wonderful stuff. Um, announcements. Just as a reminder, if you're in the area, we would love to have you help us out on Saturday with hanging of the greens, so to speak. Although, yeah, we're going to be doing some hanging of the greens, but we're going to be putting up other stuff that's not green as well. Some perhaps non-traditional decorations and things as we quote unquote set the stage. We're going to put a lot of stuff up front to help center our focus on our theme, which goes along with our series, The Inn. So again, so show up on Saturday and help us do that. We won't just be working in the sanctuary; we'll be working in some other places as well, of course. And just love to have you. More hands make for light works, is what they say. But we can still use some stuff too, especially crates. If you've got some wooden crates that you wanted to let us have for a few weeks, I think we can use more of those. We're just trying to make things three-dimensional and pop and all that kind of stuff. Maybe a lantern or two as well. Anyway, Sunday is Advent. It's the first Sunday of Advent. It's the first start of our new series, The Inn. I know I had promised that the video would be out earlier this week, and I'm sorry about that. We were having some troubles actually with our computers and our internet and accessing server, etc., stuff that's way above my head. But we will be posting that video today for sure, showing the video for the trailer for The Inn and inviting you to join us. And that is throughout the series of Lent, throughout the series of Advent and Christmas. We'll be using that series. The Sunday after Christmas is on a Saturday this year, so Christmas Eve, of course, will be on Friday. It's on the 24th this year, and Sunday is the 26th. We'll be having a cantata as part of our worship service that morning, and we are only having one that day. It's sort of a tradition. We, rather than having the 8:15 and 10:45, we just do one service, and that'll be at 9:30, and we'll be cantata will be taking place as part of our worship service that morning. So this Sunday, though, of course, we do have the two, 8:15 and 10:45. 8:15 is in person only. 10:45 is also live streamed. So wonderful, cool. Oh, and if you wanted to participate, if you're in the area and you want to participate in any of the upcoming Sundays of Advent, I can use some worship participants taking part in the service. That's enough announcements. plenty of stuff. So we're going to read chapter 7 today. We're going to do chapter 7 of Matthew. This is the third and final chapter, segment third of the Sermon on the Mount. Sermon on the Mount covers chapters 5, 6, and 7. So pretty much dead center, I said yesterday, was prayer, and in particular the Lord's Prayer. That's like the centerpiece of Matthew's version of the Sermon on the Mount. He put it together for that purpose, and piety is the centerpiece. It's pretty much all of chapter 6 is about piety, and then smack dab in the which goes along with his idea for righteousness, and and being righteous and all that kind of stuff. And then smack dab in the center of the idea of piety is prayer, and that is centered around the Lord's Prayer, this sample prayer of Jesus. Which some people are calling it that these days. Rather than saying the Lord's Prayer, they're saying the Jesus Prayer. I can go along with that, I guess. Calling it the Lord's Prayer, of course, is ancient and non-denominational. It crosses denominational bounds because most people refer to it that. We have for I'm going to say hundreds of years. But maybe the word Lord anymore doesn't mean what it used to, means something different. So we've got that going on. Hang on one moment for me. Sorry to do this to you. Hang on one sec. And we're back. Sorry about that. Somebody needed just a split second of my time from next door. Anyway, so now we will start reading chapter 7. All right, we're going to look at chapter 7 and see how Matthew completes this Sermon on the Mount. Do not judge, so that you may not be judged. For with the judgment you make, you will be judged, and the measure you give will be the measure you get. Why do you see the speck in your neighbor's eye, but do not notice the log in your own eye? Or how can you say to your neighbor, let me take the speck out of your eye while the log is in your eye? You hypocrite. First, take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your neighbor's eye. Pause. I think sometimes this passage gets misused. So let's try to be nice and clear about it on this. Yes, Jesus says, don't judge, because that's not our job. That is not our job to judge anyone for anything, especially since usually we don't know the background behind someone. And often the background is why a person acts uh, in a particular way. And if we more fully understand their background and who they are and what they've gone through, we would probably be more understanding of a person's behavior. But so the idea of judging would be that, especially misjudging and knee-jerk reaction to someone, and coming down very hypocritically. And Jesus does use that word hypocrite, um, which means a hypocrite in at the time the word was used for an actor. An actor was a hypocrite. It's a person who puts on a mask. Person who puts on a mask. So maybe that's a pretty cool understanding for hypocrite. You're wearing a mask when you're acting in that way, and your true self is underneath, and it's different than what you're putting out there. And so you're being a hypocrite. You're being a hypocrite. But so the idea is to not judge. It is pretty clear there, especially that knee-jerk reaction of type judgment and being hypocritical and coming down super hard on someone, just flat out telling them, you're wrong and you're a sinner and going to hell and all that kind of stuff, would definitely fall into this idea of not judging. And Jesus makes that analogy of the wood, the speck in the eye, of course, being small, versus a log being something big. And no, he's not literally talking about your eye. He's not even talking about an eye symbolically the way we've been talking about eye as far as what you see in the world. But it's just something that clouds your vision because of your sin, is really what he's talking about at that point. So your sin. So you're judging your neighbor for their sin, which he's kind of saying is, by comparison to you, minute compared to your sin. I love C.S. Lewis's quote, and I don't have it right in front of me, so we might end up saying that this is sort of a paraphrase, but um, he says, mostly the reason I don't like your sin is because it's not my way of sinning. It's not my way of sinning. So we're kind of okay with our own sin, but we're not with somebody else's. I've often heard that expression, love the sinner, hate the sin. And they point to this, and that's not what Jesus is saying. That's not what Jesus is saying. He's because that sounds judgy. That is being judging in doing that. We might say we're not, because I'm loving the sinner. No, you're still judging, because you're judging what they do. I heard somebody else, and I don't remember who it was. Well, it was a friend who once posted it on Facebook, but it was someone else that they were quoting. I don't. He said, and I'm trying to remember the exact wording. They say love the sinner, hate the sin. He said, I can't be bothered with that, because I really should be too busy hating my own sin. Hating my own sin. That's probably clearer to what Jesus is saying here, because he is saying about, look, examine yourself. You've got that log in your eye. You need to work at that. And if you want to help your neighbor with their speck, you better first get the log out of your own life, out of your own eye, get your sin out of your life before you try to help your neighbor. Now, Jesus is not saying that we shouldn't help our neighbor with their sin, or help the other with their sin, but make sure we've done the work to take care of, especially our big ones, before we do that. Although we might also add to that saying, are we ever truly going to get the log out of our eye? Maybe, more likely, maybe we can change it from a log to a stick, or a twig. Hopefully, we would be able to shrink our log down to a speck, to help see clearer and help our neighbor. Continuing. Do not give what is, this is a weird one. Do not give what is holy to dogs, and do not throw your pearls before swine, or they will trample them underfoot and turn and maul you. There are a variety of different understandings for this one. Ultimately, I would say we don't really know what this means. It seems to have been an analogy or a metaphor that was being used at the time and meant something in particular, and we've kind of lost it. The best understanding that I've ever seen or been given to it, the one that seems to make the most sense, is Jesus talking about spreading the message, about telling people about God and this holy message and all of this important stuff of the gospel. Broadcast is waiting for a signal. It should resume shortly. Uh-oh. Da-da-da. Hopefully this is still working in other ways. I hope. Let me know if I've lost you. So Jesus is saying, don't keep trying to do that in front of some people, because they're just not going to accept the message at some point, and at some point they're going to try to hurt you. So that's possible. That's possible. We don't know that that's for sure what Jesus was saying, but it is possible that that's what Jesus was talking about. Continuing. Ask and it will be given to you, given you. Search and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened for you. For everyone who asks receives, and everyone who receives finds, and for everyone who knocks, the door will be opened. Is there anyone among you who, if your child asks for bread, will give a stone, or if the child asks for a fish, will give a snake? If you then, who are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good things to those who ask him? Pardon me, I'm going to try something here. And no, looks like I'm frozen. Not sure what's going on. Nope. All right, we're having some issues. It's cutting in and out. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, I'm going to continue anyway, and hopefully, if it doesn't work, I'll be able to upload a video in some way. Anyway, all right. Asking it will be given to you, seeking you will find, knock and the door will be open to you. All sound crystal clear and understandable. You got to ask, you got to pray, you got to talk to God if you want something. But we shouldn't read it as saying you're guaranteed to get what you're asking for. Guaranteed to get what you're asking for. Now, I've heard an unusual or very interesting understanding of that part about if your child asks for bread, we'd give a stone. If your child asks for a fish, we would give a snake. And the one of course, usual translation or understanding is completely opposite and not good for what they want. You know, not equal to what they want. But a different understanding that I have interpretation that I've heard is that I'm going to try to end the video and restart.